Hey everybody, welcome to Wild, Creative, and Confident, a video interview series where you can learn from the most inspiring industry leaders and how you can use your passion and creativity to design the life and business of your dreams. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Thompson from wildandcreative.com, the creative success coach, and today I have with me a special guest who's joining us from France. Kristine Horn. Kristine Horn is actually a creative coach as well. Singing, playing the harp, conducting, and directing the theater troupe, teaching, creating, and coaching are all part of Kristine's life. She loves being in nature and spends as much time outside as possible. Her desire to share her experiences has led her to coaching. She helps people make the time to be creative despite being parents, working full-time, whatever it else is that they have as their excuses. Kristine makes them create time to create. So welcome, Kristine.
Thank you ever so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
So can you actually dive in a little bit more into your coaching business and, who are your clients and, what kind of work do you do with them?
Well, I started off as a creativity coach, helping people really to fulfill their projects because I did a lot of talks on creativity and people came up to me afterwards and said, I always wanted to write a book, I always wanted to do this, I always want to do that. And I said, well, why don't you? I said, I will. I just need to take 2 years off from work to do it or whatever, and it was so depressing because when is that ever going to happen, in our lives? When are we ever going to get the time to do all the projects that we want to do? So, you just got to make the time and take the time to do whatever it is you want to do, I think.
What do you think is the biggest reason that people do that? That they make an excuse that they need, 2 years off to write a book or this and that, I can't go there till I lose 5 pounds, all that kind of thing, right? Is it just a tactic that keeps them safe, you think?
I think part of it is fear. Because if we think we're going to write a book and we take 2 years off and we discover that we've got nothing really to write about or things just don't come out of us, it's very, very scary. So it could be a sort of protection, really. But it is also an excuse, as you say, and an excuse, you can't accept it. No, you have to do something about it, I think.
When did creativity really start for you? I mean, it says that, I know that I have mentioned to everybody that you always spend time outside and I'm sure, being a creative coach that you have been creative for a long time, but, were you very creative as a young child or?
Well, I was very frustrated as a young child. I was born in Denmark and I wanted to learn to read. I thought there must be so much stuff to find out in all those books, but nobody wanted to teach me to read, and I waited and waited and waited, and waiting for people to teach me how to read. I had to create and invent all these sorts of games and things to do, not to be bored, really. So it's really out of frustration, I think, that I started creating lots of things as a child. And also in Denmark, it must be said, we only had 2 hours school every day. So with only 2 hours away at school, it left so much time for us to play and just invent things really to play with.
Can you explain a little bit more about what you said about nobody taught you to read? So was that English or just in general, or?
Just in general, really, because in Denmark you learn very late.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was in a hurry, I had so much stuff I wanted to find out about. So I wanted desperately to learn to read, but it just wasn't on schedule, really. So I had to wait for a long time, or what seemed for a long time to me, being so young. And I think had I learnt to read earlier, perhaps I wouldn't have discovered this world of creativity where anything is possible and you're the master, really, of your world.
No, everything happens for a reason in a weird roundabout way, right? So have you always known deep down that you would get to this place in your business that you're at now, helping other people, living a life?
I had no idea whatsoever. I never know what's going to happen. So I started out as a musician. I thought I was just going to be a musician the whole of my life, which is fine. But lots of things start showing up and happening to me. And so I'm just taking, I'm just following a road. I don't know where it's leading. And today I find myself here.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I know so many people go through so many different methods to get to a certain place, right? Some totally live by the seat of their pants, following their intuition all the time. And other people have a very structured, clarity defining path. But it really, whatever just works for you and makes you feel the best, right? I mean, I think that is truly the answer in a way. You got to know where you want to go a little bit, but you got to get on the bus somewhere, right?
Indeed. And you do have to make some choices, I think. What do you think? Because being led is all very well, but you have to sometimes decide which way you want to go. Don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, and those choices usually have to be with what makes you feel the best, right? What makes you feel the most, and you could say in an alignment with what you're interested in doing. But yeah, I mean, totally. It is all about choices, right? I mean, everything we do every single day is going to lead us to a different path, right? So
I think so, yes. And that's where creativity comes in, is with these choices, really, where you are the creator of your life, I believe, through
exactly.
the choices you make and what you build and what you create.
I know. I think that, it's funny. I mean, I think that over the past maybe 10 years, creativity and the idea of you can create your life any way you want to, or really combining, or people are seeing it that way. But yeah, that is absolutely, truly how it is. So can you tell us a little bit about receiving, and how have you allowed the universe to allow you to receive all that you have now, whether that be abundance, your career, the people that you work with?
I think of being open, and I don't feel the need to define myself. I don't feel the need to, I was born in Denmark, I moved to England, and then I came to France. So I don't really feel the need to say who I am. I can just be anybody I want to be. And so I'm open to all sorts of suggestions. Well, there's some things I don't want, but I'm open to lots of suggestions. And how can I say this? I just see what's on offer, and then I take what's on offer that I like, really. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it. A bit like a restaurant.
Life is a buffet.
Sorry?
Life is always a buffet, right?
It is. Like in a restaurant. If you go into a restaurant saying, I want pizza, and the restaurant doesn't do pizza, well, you have to choose something else, and it might be so much better than pizza. Who knows?
Or you might go next door to the pizza place.
Yeah. Whatever takes the fancy.
For you, what is infinite receiving to you? Like, what does that phrase mean to you?
Infinite receiving is being everything that you can be.
Short and sweet.
No limitations. You can just be what you are.
Nice. Can you actually, is there any suggestions that you can provide to those that are watching when it comes to, attracting everything that they want to attract?
Well, obviously there are some practical things that you have to do. You have to be in the right place at the right time. So make sure you are in lots of places at lots of times, really, because you're sort of opening up to different opportunities. If you stay at home all the time, moping around, you're not going to be there when the occasion comes along, really. So the more you're out there, the more you're exchanging with people, the more you're exchanging your ideas, your thoughts, what you do, the more you attract, I think, the right people into your life and the right things you want to do.
It is funny. It reminds me of, people that are very introverted and never leave the house and then say that they never meet anybody. It's that same kind of story, right? So you're probably not going to meet, the man of your dreams if you're never leaving your house. So, there's the internet now and all that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does take some action sometimes. And you sometimes have to, I wouldn't say force yourself, but you sometimes have to just go a little bit further than you really, really want to. So I am a big believer in pushing your limits and getting out of your comfort zone, because this is really when things start happening.
Mm-hmm. So what has been your biggest achievement to date? that you find?
My biggest achievement is, I think, not to have believed all those people who told me I couldn't do what I've done.
Nice.
Because every time I've had the wish, the desire to do something, I've been told, oh, it's just not possible. When I was little, I thought, I'm not happy with my life here. Let's just go and see what's happening in London. Let's go to music college in London. That would be so great. And people told me, well, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Well, it did. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, oh, let's go to Paris and see what's happening there. And people said, oh, you're not going to leave all your jobs here in London. You've got such a comfortable life. I said, well, I'm bored. I'm going to go to Paris. And people said, oh, that's impossible. You don't even speak French, you know. And so every time I want to do something, people are telling me it's not possible. And I'm not saying it's easy always to do something. And I'm not saying that I'm not afraid sometimes to do some things, but I just refuse to let that stop me.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to things that you're scared to do you have kind of a method that you have used over the past few years that has allowed you to just, you know, grab the bull by its horns and go with it?
Indeed, yeah. I just think, if something's holding me back, and the only thing that I can see that's holding me back is fear, I say, well, what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? Mm-hmm. And I imagine that. And when I can see that, I can say, can I live with that? And if I can, well, I'm looking failure in the face in some way. But if I can live through that, then why not go ahead? Why not do it? Because I can live with the results of failure, but maybe I won't fail. Maybe I'll succeed, and that would be so much more for me, I think. So I tell myself, if fear's the only thing stopping me, I'll just go straight through it. I just won't let that stop me.
Nice. I mean, you're such a good example of you know, taking the bull by its horns. And like you said, you've moved to many different places. You have a very blended accent too. I was like trying to pick up on the different, but you know, and just, you know, through your life as well. I mean, you've done so many things, and it's such a great example to those that are watching, because, you know, they might be living a very sheltered life. I mean, the thing is, they could have children. Maybe you can't up and move, but I mean, maybe their fear is simply just, you know, trying out for that new job, or you know, trying a new hobby that they're scared to do, or even the overwhelming feeling of trying a new hobby, trying something new, right? I mean, things are so small when you put it into perspective, right? But we really have to, you know, bust through and try those things. And I always kind of call it going live. I call it, you know, if you have a new website that's coming out and you're very scared to put it out and people are going to see you differently for the first time or something like that, you just got to press live. You just got to like go. And then you're out there, right? Like, what are you going to do about it?
Quite.
This might be a different question, but I'm going to rephrase it. What has been your biggest achievement when it comes to personal power and understanding yourself to the point of ease and flow in your life?
Personal power would be the ability, I think, to accept failure.
Mm-hmm. So generally the same answer. So, I mean, when did you really start pushing through being scared to fail? Was it just, I mean, from a very young age?
Yeah, it was really my decision to move to England when I was young. And I thought, this is so scary. I'll be leaving everything I know, everybody I know, and I'll have to reinvent myself in a different language. Mm-hmm. So that was quite a challenge for me. It could have gone terribly wrong. I could not have entered music college. I could have failed. I could not have found a job. I could not have found somewhere to live. But that I was willing to live with that. So that was a tremendous lesson for me. That if you obviously you have to be a bit practical about it. But if you do prepare yourself and you go and do it, everything is possible, I believe. And you just mentioned people who are perhaps a bit scared to take up a new hobby or go for a job interview, or I would say that maybe this music thing and this moving to different countries has just been an excuse for me, really, to get to know myself better. And that would be, moving countries to me would be a catalyst for living new experiences and trying to see the world in a different way. Because if you go to a different country, then you will find that people don't look at life in the same way.
Right.
They don't speak the same language, so they don't say the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So this is so interesting, and it forces you to have a look at how you are and how you see things, and then perhaps embrace some change, because change is possible. And for these people who are perhaps afraid, the people you mentioned being at home, wanting to find the love of their lives, but not wanting to go outside, maybe with a bit of help, they could be encouraged to be pushed out of their comfort zone and perhaps say to themselves, well, maybe I won't meet the love of my life if I go out now, but maybe I will.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it will take this change from me. Maybe it will need for me. I will need to push myself out there, but I will do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such a good point. I think so many people, they really need that encouragement, and they really need that, in a sense, we'll call it hand-holding, right? Whether that be from a friend, a family member, a coach, however they choose to go about it. But, it's really making that decision too, for them to want to change and for them to want to have those new experiences, even if they are really scared. So, I mean, that's the first step is identifying that they are, wanting to do something new or wanting to change something in their life. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Can you tell us a little bit about music in your life and how music has really, in a sense, sculpted your business that you're in now?
Because maybe music is just an excuse too, really, because it's been like a red thread throughout my life, which has pushed me on to always conquer new heights, really. So I would say that music and art, you can't just stay the same, really. You can't just every day get up and do your routine and then go to bed again. It's just not possible. So you need really to be constantly evolving and experiencing, exploring. So music for me was the ideal thing because it was quite easy for me. But any art form could really be anybody's chance to explore things and see what's possible, really.
Sorry? Oh, sorry, you're not done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was, but I was just going to, I can't remember now what I was going to say.
I was going to say, I have a tiny story, and I know this is about you, but that's what I always say, but all these little stories, like, these stories pop up. I was just thinking it's perfect. So back in grade 7, it was time to start the band in my school, right? In our grade 7 band. And we had our choice of picking our instrument. And I so wanted to play the French horn. I wanted to play it so bad. It just looked so amazing and fun. But I chose the clarinet because everybody was playing the clarinet, and I didn't want to be different, or, I didn't want to be the only one playing the French horn. I was scared, right? So it was the easy route. So now I always, whenever I'm scared to do something, I just think to myself, like, no, I'm playing the French horn. Mind you, I've never played it. I've never actually played the French horn. I've never tried it. I really should, because that's hypocritical of me. But, that's a perfect example of the easy route people take, right? And then they think about that for years and years for the rest of their life. What would have been like if I tried that? How would it have made me a more stronger person if I would have played the French horn, right?
I think we've all taken the easy route at some point, haven't we? But it's not the way that makes us grow, really. Mm-hmm. It's not the way that we explore life to the fullest. Yeah. So I would recommend always playing the French horn.
Play the French horn. It's very fitting for this interview with you. So what kind of projects are you doing behind the scenes? Give us the information of how people can hook up with you, what you have to offer. What are you doing behind the scenes that we can check out?
Right at the moment, I'm developing a new program on time management, because one of the biggest excuses I find, well, it's a bit rough to say excuses, because sometimes there are really major hindrances. One of the major hindrances for not creating is time. People are just so busy today. So I've got a few clients who are busy parents and full-time workers. So managing to find some time for creativity in their lives is just very, very difficult. So I'm trying to find out how you can get the maximum of things into the minimum of time, really. And, I'm enjoying working on that, because I do realize that if people get into the habit of organizing themselves, it's not that difficult, but you have to take time, step back and have a look at what you really want to do with your life. You have to make the right choices. We talked about choices earlier. So you have got to make a few priorities, really, and then get them organized, get them into a timetable, sort out your priorities, and do the things you want to do, and the things you don't want to do but you have to do, try to do them quickly, or to get somebody else to do them for you, and make them time and space for being you, because it's all very well taking care of your children and being an excellent worker, but you still have to exist there some way. And I think that creativity is a major key to really existing.
Totally. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's all about making that list of what you love to do, what you like to do, what you don't like doing, what you could farm out to other people or have other people help you with, and the things in life that you just don't like doing, like taking out the trash or something like that, but that has to get done, right? So it's really just categorizing all those things. And it's so funny because I actually, we talked before we got on here about the coloring books that I had created last spring. And it was funny because, probably just into the summer after the third book, I was watering my garden and I was thinking to myself, coloring books, I enjoyed my experience, but I don't necessarily just want to be a coloring book illustrator. I had no idea where those coloring books came from, right? So it was kind of like that flash in a moment where I was like, I think I need to pull out my chart again and see what I'm really spending time doing, right? Because we can become very inspired to go a certain route and to work on something, right? And it's definitely in your best interest to follow your inspired thought and see where that takes you. But necessarily, it might not be what you love to do, and then it doesn't make sense, right? So
yeah, but some people they don't even take the time to water their plants, so they can't hear.
I hear you.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
So you were ready to hear that. You were ready for that voice to be heard in you, and you were ready to act on it.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need a bit of help to just calm down enough and to take the time really to listen to these voices that we all have.
It's funny, a funny metaphor, right? Some people don't take the time to water their plants at all. What is your freebie that you're giving out to all of our viewers?
Well, I'd like to invite your listeners to take part in my video series on managing time, really.
Nice.
So prioritizing, making choices, planning ahead, and
focusing,
because I'm a great believer on focusing on one thing at a time.
Perfect.
Really. Yeah. So this is a 5-part video series that you can get if you go to my website.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And we'll put your website in the bio information for people to grab it there. And so, but you just have, is it just one site that you're on? So what is it's KristineHorn.com, right?
It's KristineHorn-coaching.com, yeah. Okay, I've also got a musical site, but you won't find my video series there.
No,
the video series is on the coaching site, so it's KristineHorn-coaching.com.
Perfect. Okay. And I've got one last question for you.
Right.
What is it that makes you wild, creative, and confident?
It is believing that I'm capable of doing anything I set my mind to, I think.
Limitless.
I think we all are. We just need to experience it, really.
Right. That's a good answer. Everybody should really just, what can you do in your day, everybody, that can make you a little bit more limitless every single day, right? I mean, and I think that truly is the answer to experiencing everything that you really want to experience. So awesome. Well, I thank you so much for being on with us today. And you've just added a wonderful perspective onto so many different topics that I'm sure a lot of people are going to have a lot of great takeaways from. And make sure you check out Kristine. I'm going to put all of her information in the bio that you're going to get. And please check out her 5-part series. It's going to be just awesome. I'm sure everybody can definitely benefit from that. And everybody, thank you very much for watching. And be sure to head to wildandcreative.com and check out the new program, 6 Steps to Creative Success. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.